Good to see you, Mr. Zhovka, this morning. Counteroffensive going slower than hoped, says Mr. Zelenskyy. Is that because Ukraine needs more weaponry or because the Russians are stronger than you anticipated?
No, it's certainly not because Russians are stronger, but it's certainly, yes, because we need more weaponry, because counteroffensive and the previous counteroffensive we already had throughout the last half a year, and the previous defensive actions in Donbass, they require ammunition, artillery, Western-type tanks and armored vehicles. So yes, we need more. But at the same time, this counteroffensive is much more difficult because really Russians are prepared, much more prepared, the regions which we are now having as a counteroffensive object. So the defense system is strong, but we are certainly outnumbering. They are outnumbering us in the manpower, and we are much better in having the quality of our armed forces and the tactics of our armed forces. That's why definitely this counteroffensive will end with a success.
You're here in London. President Zelenskyy has been visiting many countries. Which countries in particular do you want to see more from, and what in particular are you asking for?
Well, each and every country supports and helps us in its way. It's not only about military support, by the way. Military support is crucial as of today, but the support in terms, for instance, our integration to EU is NATO, and NATO is no less important because we really contribute to the security system of the European continent and Euro-Atlantic area. We would like to be a part of your system. The same goes about sanctions. I mean, sanctions matter, and sanctions do already harm to Russian economy, but not up to the mark. So that's why additional packages of sanctions, that of EU as well as UK and US, are needed. So my president will continue probably to have those visits if the situation on the battlefield allows, because when he travels, when he has his negotiations with the leaders tete-a-tete or eye-to-eye, it's much better and the results are immediate. Military packages, financial support, joining EU and NATO.
Sergei Shoigu has promised Putin a reserve army by the end of the month. Does that worry you? Is that realistic?
You know, Russia really has a bigger, much bigger population, and definitely they can make another several waves of mobilizations. They may enlarge their manpower twice or three times or four times or whatever. But again, this Russian aggression, they thought they will outnumber us, and they really outnumber us in manpower and equipment and artillery and ammunition. But we are fighting for our own land. Our morale is much more higher. Soldiers know that they are defending their villages, their cities, their towns, their motherland. What are Russians fighting for? I don't know that you will receive a clear answer from a soldier or from a member of a Wagner group, from a prisoner, who thinks that he can escape from prison being on the battlefield. We are fighting for our land, and that's why we're gonna win.
Does what we've seen with the Kakhovka Dam, in your mind, in terms of the risk of there being a Russian attack, perhaps a false flag Russian attack on the Zaporizhia nuclear plant, is that increased in your mind?
Yes, Kakhovka was a pre-planned terrorist attack planned by Russia, probably from the first day of open aggression, because they occupied Kakhovka Dam in the first days of open aggression and controlled it all the time. They had the personnel at the station, they had their military presence there, so that's why absolutely no doubts that they made this terrorist attack, which caused a terrible ecocide. So we would like all the international community to join our efforts in condemning this terrorist attack and helping us to liquidate the aftermaths. While if the world will be keeping silence, yes, they will be free in their actions, including on Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. My president yesterday told about enough evidence that they are planning this operation. So the world has to take it really seriously. Zaporizhia nuclear power plant is the biggest nuclear power station in Europe, 6 nuclear units. We have to not to repeat the mistakes of, sitting and keeping silence and watching what will happen. This time the world should react in advance.
Are you happy that the UK government has been good to its word in its support of Ukraine?
Yes, absolutely. We're thankful for the UK government for many reasons. Yesterday, this very important Ukraine Recovery Conference has concluded, and we have very good results. We have a staunch financial support, staunch financial pledges to Ukraine, 60 billion, including 50 billion from the European Commission, 3 billion from the UK government, and the rest of the governments. This is real support in times of war, but already now we have to plan how to recover Ukraine, how to reconstruct, how to relaunch the economic system. The accent was made on energy and another very important issues. Private business was here. So this is real support. But before that, really, my president met several times with Prime Minister Sunak, both in Kyiv and here in the UK, and he thanked him for the military support, for the long-range artillery, for other pieces of equipment, for the support of UK on Ukraine's journey in NATO. This is very important to form a very strong decisions at Vilnius summit. Yes, Ukraine will not become a member to NATO before the victory, but right now it's high time to start the procedure of inviting Ukraine to NATO. We are already contributing to the Euro-Atlantic security. We deserve to be here.
We've given refuge to very many Ukrainians here. What is the message to the Ukrainian diaspora who have fled to different countries around the world? Can they plan to start going back to Ukraine, or do they need to focus on building their lives where they are now?
No. They definitely have to be back to Ukraine to help all of us to rebuild the prosperous European country, Ukraine, which will be among the members of the European and Euro-Atlantic family. And certainly when security conditions allow, they certainly need to go back and to be Ukrainians, European Ukrainians, having achieved experience communicating to your people. I find Ukrainian people in each and every capital. This is in fact the integration of Ukrainians to Europe. So after the victory, to be back and to help to restore Ukraine.